So a businessman says to you, please trust me. Well, anyone who can say, please trust me, doesn't make them trustworthy at all. This is part of a series I'm looking into. It's a really important series because it's looking at the things really that you can't actually get any information on, because there's a human factor here that tends to be involved with what Google algorithms are trying to accomplish. How does it work? Well, it's called EAT, or EAT. E is for expertise. A is for authoritativeness. And today we're looking at T. T for trustworthiness. When someone says, trust me, it doesn't really imply that they're any more trustworthy. In fact, often with trust, you gain trust over time. Your actions gain trust. What you do gains trust. So what can you do to make your business be considered trustworthy? Well, time's always going to be involved when it comes to trust. And you can lose trust quite quickly if you do things the wrong way. So there are several basic things you can do with your website and with your business to make sure it's trustworthy. For example, GDPR and having cookies notice. Those types of things are considered essential to build trust. If you don't have those things, you could be breaking the law. And also trustworthiness comes from having a secure server. So having HTTPS, having that secure certificate to your website. Google now and Chrome browsers and probably the majority of browsers, they won't accept websites that aren't secure. So have you updated your website recently and made it a secure browser experience for your visitors? Years ago, it was only considered shops that took monetary value using cards needed that S, that security. Whereas now it's considered it's essential, that encryption for all websites. And if you're a business, do you have clear policies on how people can get a refund or how they can get their money back? And when they go to your contact page, is it difficult to know who you are? Well, if you're building trust, you'll be transparent. You'll tell them who you are, how they can contact you, and what they can do so that you can amend things and make sure they have a good business experience with you as a customer. And think about your business. Does your business require trust? Well, if it's a shop, e-commerce, if it involves money transactions, certainly trust is definitely going to be needed. I mean, if I had some money and I wanted to invest it in a bank, would I be able to trust a bank that I'd never heard of? Would I go online and just find a bank and then invest my money with it? Or would perhaps the time period that I've known banks in the high street give them that trustworthiness to help me then find their website and then know that I can invest with them? And even if you have your high street banks, you still have to make sure that when you go on the website and you do a search, that it's the actual website belonging to them that is actually the one you're going to invest with. So never has trust been more important than the internet world we live in, where trustworthiness is of great value. If you can trust someone, then it's worth all the money in the world in business terms. So what things are needed to be trustworthy? One of the things that tends to annoy business people is the fact that they have to verify their address, verify their business with a postcard that can take perhaps a few days from Google, if that's Google My Business that you're trying to get up and running. But bearing in mind, Google wants businesses to be trusted. So this is a reason why you can't just set up any business on Google My Business. You can't just have as many businesses as you want scattered through the area. Why? Because it doesn't give any value, and it certainly doesn't encourage trust. But having an absolute address that's pinned on a map where a postcard is then sent to physically through the post and then verified, that is already beginning to show some form of trust to your clients and customers if they know you've been registered on Google My Business and verified. Other ways you can demonstrate trust, that EAT, is to show that you want to update people with important information. So again, using your news, using your updates is another way to build trust. You'll notice how Google My Business also takes the trust that's already been built on other platforms. So whether it's Yellow Pages or Yale, whether it's TripAdvisor, depending on your type of business. But that, if you've built up trust on other areas like Facebook, TripAdvisor, hotels.com, if you've already got trust on other areas, Google is happy to buy into that too. So you want to make sure it's all consistent, that these reflect exactly what you do. You want to make sure as you go down that the times are kind of fitting in correctly. Also, when people review things, if they can put images and photos, that's going to help. And also your profiles as well, keep these up to date. All those things are going to help give you a bit more trustworthiness when it comes to Google. Again, just looking here, so you want this information updated. Reviews from the web, so building these reviews, external reviews, is always going to help. You may notice that Google My Business isn't just a case of you register it, then you leave it. But Google wants you to keep updating it. Why do they want you to do that? Again, it's to do with trustworthiness. If you're a genuine business, then updating your hours and the holiday is no big deal. Updating your business information, keeping a consistent phone number, updating your address if you move business. To a genuine business that then wants to build trust with its clients, then it'll be prepared to do those things. So those people that go along, they register a business on Google My Business, they verify it, and then they just leave it. They don't update it. Google then starts to recognize, well, would you trust a company that never updates its information? That when you've gone there and it said it's open, it's closed. When you've read about some information about it, it's been 2 years old. Google wants you to keep things updated. And if you keep things updated, you're also building trust, along with your expertise and also along with your authority. So trustworthiness can take time. And a lot of people don't want to spend that time building it up. Google wants trustworthy sites to be number one. So if you think you're good and you think you should be number one, then you need to build trust. But not only do you need to build trust, but you also need to be an expert and you also need to have authority. So if you want to know how to be an expert, then go to this video, but you need to also get authority. So make sure you don't miss this video too, and I'll see you there.